see.
Hey,
That message from Lieutenant Green in Siberia
is
seems to tie in
me
somewhere.
again recording another fucking me talking about nothing video
Captain
while I
Scarlet.
play a game
Yes, Captain.
and listen to an
I think I've got a lead
Unreal
on how the missiles
tournament
might make their attempt
breakcore
to
mix.
destroy the moon.
So,
I can tell you what'll happen
breakcore
when
jungle
succeed.
mix. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all know how the old video game soundtrack feel
Perhaps
is.
even deviation
Uh,
of the world into a new and dangerous solar
my
orbit.
throat's still kind of messed up,
Just what would it take to
like it
destroy
was
the
yesterday in the last
Far
recording.
more powerful than anything
And
divine.
also, I talked about yesterday how the past like 2 days at that point were pretty good, or at least okay comparatively, because I've been in the middle of a depressive episode and I've been feeling okay. Yeah, things have changed.
Book him, Dino.
Things have changed, and so unfortunately they're not going very well. I now realize that I need to turn this down probably, so let's turn this down just a little bit. I feel like it'll matter. Let me turn the game down a little bit as well. Sorry, that was probably really loud. I'm, like I said, my throat's messed up. Even more so than it was yesterday. But I'm not recording immediately after waking up, so I sound like somewhat normal still. Just not great. But then again, I guess I never really sound great. But I'm here, and playing some fucking Megabonk while we just talk about shit. I didn't really come in with a plan of what to talk about yesterday. I just kind of ended up going, and that's kind of how I intend on treating these videos. I mean, this channel is like, it's Sienna's diary. It's not, there is nothing here of note or importance, and that just is what it is. So we just continue forward, you know what I mean? We just see what happens. I do think that maybe, I'll be able to like give like some kind of like daily updates or something that'll be like some form of consistency. I don't know. It's hard for me to be consistent about anything. My brain does not function properly. I'm a little bit of a Manhera girl, unfortunately. So that's just how we gotta be. First item is gold though, so love that. Yeah, but today's not been great. The mental's been pretty bad, and it's just trying to live. But I've had like an interesting day, at least, or at least interesting in things to talk about, not necessarily interesting in like anything of note or importance happened. I'm not gonna pick up that greed shine yet. But yeah, I was telling somebody actually not too long ago. I was talking to a friend of mine who I don't talk to that often. He's like, he isn't a very talkative person. I'm not gonna force him to, be a talkative person. That's fucked up. I'm not gonna make anybody uncomfortable or nothing. So I don't talk to him that often. But that's still my nigga. But I was talking to him about different things, and the topic came up of an album that I have to work on, and we're gonna act like that didn't happen and do another run, even though I plan on using, like, I was just gonna talk through a full run, kind of like how I did one full playthrough of R4 yesterday, but we're just gonna act like that didn't happen because I kind of got hoed. Regardless. Yeah, I was talking to him about an album I have to work on, and I was talking about how all of these options fucking suck, and also the fact that I had a really unique experience about a week or two ago. And so, to explain something, this is, I guess if any of my friends find this channel, this isn't news to them, but for any random person that, gets recommended a video from a channel with fucking no subs and a video with like 2 views or whatever the fuck, as YouTube sometimes does for no fucking reason, they just push videos randomly, just like a random no-name, nobody YouTube video on the page, and sometimes that builds people's careers, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, if you are a random person, if not, this is just, if nobody sees this, fine. This channel, like I said, is my diary, basically. But the, so when, like, when would that have been? About 2 or 3 years ago, a little bit after I transitioned, I got really addicted to taking things, because my brain was a lot more productive. I was consistently getting work done, which is something that was very impossible for me. I said addicted to stuff, like, I just, like, you know, ate a shit ton of edibles, and I didn't drink alcohol that often. I've never gotten drunk. I can't stand the feeling of that, nor the taste of alcohol. I had a little, like, that definitely didn't help during the situations, but it was mainly like weed and very, very sparingly some other stuff sometimes. But long story short, that was like a big problem that I had, and the problem is, aside from it just being bad for you as a whole, we're not gonna take the cursed home early this time. I you know, just did it because it was like, okay, it makes me more productive. But the problem is, I have a very long list of mental disorders, and I cannot afford to be medicated for them. So unfortunately, I kind of just go through life unmedicated, which is really bad. And when you have things like, let's say, schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or ADHD, and you have an amalgamation of a lot of these things combining along with other problems that you have, your mental state is not good when you are on things that can potentially alter your mind. In fact, I would argue it gets very, very, very painful. And so that was the thing, was the drawbacks of everything I was doing for roughly like a year and like half a year to maybe a year, like at least 6 months of just consistently doing shit. And I guess if you're a friend of mine hearing this for the first time, this is how you find out that I was addicted to stuff besides weed. Stuff being whatever pills we had in the house at the time. But, you know, lore aside, all of those things mix very poorly. The thing that caused, like, issues, though, was the weed, actually. There was a point where, like, I stopped the pill stuff very early on, mainly because I hate pills. I can't properly swallow pills, which is really funny. I have a throat that's like very small compared to the average person. It's like an actual like problem I have. No pause on that. We don't. I'm 25. We don't do that shit, nigga. Whatever. But yeah. So the problem was I kept on just eating a shit ton of edibles all the time because it made me productive and would destroy my brain. And so eventually I got to a point where my brain had a full destruction in like December of 2022. And because of that, I had, like, you know, somewhat ego death, but also some other problems occur, and I literally watched reality crumble in front of me. And because of that, you know, it was probably already somewhere in my brain in existence due to other problems I have connected to other things. But I developed like super bad DPDR, and that got to a point where I basically did not have a usable brain for a period of time. I got like amnesia, where like about half of my memories had disappeared. My short-term memory was non-existent, and I couldn't form new memories. And my literal perception of reality was warped. Eventually that did get better over time. It still has moments where like it flares up and my perception of reality gets warped, but I did obtain most of my memories back. Aside from small stuff, small detail stuff. This is wrapping back around to what I was talking about earlier with my friend that actually does matter, but I just have to give the context for how we got there. And so I finally got to a point where my memory was like, I was able to form new memories, and my perception of reality was not always fucked, and so on and so forth. But my short-term memory is permanently fucked from it still to this day. Like, it's just my like actual memory is even better than it was before, which is crazy because I was known for having good memory, but it's damn near perfect. It's like the way it works is hard to describe, but it's kind of like Rido Philip from Kamen Rider Double, if you've ever seen that, where it there's like kind of a library in my brain that makes up my memories. And you know, I still struggle with it, where like the reason I pause so much while talking, the reason I stutter, the reason I have to formulate thoughts in such a weird way is because I don't technically have a short-term memory. So I have to like process things very slowly so that I can consistently like function, and that's fun. But this is beside the point. Basically, all of that is preamble to set up for what actually matters in this conversation, which is I was talking to my friend, and I brought up how, I know a bunch of my friends know this, but I was talking to a friend today about it, so that's why I want to talk about it now. But basically, there was an album I worked on, or a concept album I wrote out everything for, between the ages of 16 to 18. I wrote a full document for it on my computer, and then also I had a notebook with everything written in it. And so the reason this matters is because when I was just chilling, just minding my own business, I rediscovered this thing, and it was something that had disappeared from my brain entirely because of that period of time in which everything disappeared from my memories. And the way in which it happened was kind of weird, where I got a new PC semi recently, like probably a month and a half ago at this point, and I had moved stuff over, but I didn't know exactly what was moved over and so on and so forth. I didn't know like what layers of stuff was moved over, and I didn't know if I still had the all my old like music, my folder with all my music documents, right, all my ideas for stuff. But essentially what I came across when looking through my computer was, I was like, oh, this music folder still exists. I just put it in the wrong spot. I just hadn't looked for it. And so I found it, and I was going through it, and I saw this folder, or not this folder, but this document that had the name of the album that I will not be disclosing, because if it's a thing that ends up existing, then I'll talk about it. But I don't want to say it's something that exists without actually making it exist first. So I had seen that, and as soon as I opened it, in the file itself, it said, writing this here so that I can never forget. And then under that it said, there is a notebook in the closet that has every single thing that's written in this document copied on it. And then the rest of the document was just everything outlined for this grandiose concept album. And it said at the end of it, this is the first thing I will make when I learn how to produce. Recently, I've been getting into production. I do have a channel for it. It's called Scarloid. And in that album, it's a very it's a story about a time loop and love, and it's very much like I read it and I can see the influence of many things in it, but also I can see pieces of myself at the time that were written in it, of like horrible deeds that had happened to me and so on and so forth. And like what mental state I was in when I wrote it between the ages of 16 and 18, which is somehow worse than I am in the modern day. It was really bad back then. I mean, that was pre-transition. At the time, I was still questioning myself, which was going on for a few years, and I had just, I had 2 years of my life, basically, where I just didn't exist. I dropped out, and just did what I could to survive, because I was dealing with the fallout of an event that, permanently scarred me. And so going back and reading this document, stuff started clicking for me, and so I went in the closet and I got the book to read the book version to see if there was anything different. And when I looked at it, I started crying, and literally all of the memories came flooding back to me like some kind of anime. Like I just read an Elder Scroll type shit, you know. And it was a lot, and upon reading it, I was like, yeah, I have to make this, so I'm working on it now. And that's been the driving motivator for me recently, is that I have to do that. And it means a lot to me, despite the fact that I forgot it. It was there's a few small memories, like I said, that didn't come back when I finally recovered from the amnesia, and that was one of them, and it's now one of the most important things in my life, because the timing in which I have found it is so absurd, right? I finally start producing, and after a month or two of learning what I'm doing, producing and actually making stuff, I find something that says, yeah, this is you from the past saying this is what you're gonna make when you learn how to produce. And it's like, oh, well, I'm here, you know? And so I have to. It's a story about a time loop and love and so on and so forth. And I think it'll be really interesting to see what I can do with it. I have a few ideas. I have a few ideas for sure, but I'm not 100% set on how I want to execute the album, because I'm still new to solo production. I've been helping people make stuff and watching people make stuff for the better part of 10 years now, but solo production is, I'm still new here, so it's difficult. It's really difficult to know what I want to do or how I'm gonna do it. But it's also cool that, okay, hold on, oh, shit's trying to kill me. But it's also cool that I have something I truly want to create, which is weird for me as somebody that's been in a state recently of I don't want to do anything, I want to die, it's weird. I don't want to say I've found purpose per se, because that feels a lot more melodramatic than I want it to be. But it's a big thing for me. I just don't know how I want to do it. And we'll see when I get there, we'll see. I think that I think it'll be a good album when I do finally get to finishing it. I went back and after reading it, and I did clean up some of the stuff. I'm a better writer now, and it was made, like I said, when I was 16 to 18. That was a very long time ago. Like I said, I'm 25 now, so it's you know, very interesting to be able to go back and like rework that and be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm like, how in what ways have I progressed? It's done a lot for me, but it's also been a source of a lot of stress because I want to make the best version of it that I possibly can, and I don't know how to do that yet. But I'll get there. I think, I hope. Maybe I won't. I don't know how good I am comparatively to anybody else that does it yet, but I also think that I'm not in a good enough mental state to be able to compare myself without it leading to problematic thought processes. So, you'll have to come back for that take when I'm more mentally stable, I guess. But as it stands now, you know, it's okay. Like I'm still, I have a desire to create, but man, if I'm not in the greatest mind state to do so. People say it's, you know, suffering that creates great art, but I think it's the peace that follows suffering that does. So the act of suffering is something that I must get through in order to create the best art that I possibly can. I kind of have a weird thought about art, a weird philosophy about it, and not to get, I talked about it in the last video, I don't like getting super quote-unquote philosophical because it leads to like, you know, it's like pseudo-intellectual, like weirdo nigga takes, talking about some bullshit that don't matter, trying to sound smarter than they are, but I do have a weird philosophy about art, and that is that art is the only thing that is synonymous with life, besides like death. In that there is the only thing that has existed since the dawn of man, aside from the concept of living, is art. And so I think that potentially life itself is art, and that art holds a greater weight than we deem it to. That art, the ability of creating things, the ability to experience things, is kind of built into the universe. Besides, like the concept of living is to experience, obviously, duh. But I mean, there are things that exist that kind of prove it. You know, there are things like fractals and you know, once in a lifetime things that happen, like the say like universally there's like supernovas which will never be witnessed, but if one being were to witness it, they would witness something beautiful. Something in a far smaller scale is like an eclipse, you know. Things to be experienced, things that are one of a kind, things that are impermanent, which I kind of went over, you know, yesterday while playing R4, but I still kind of think it ties in here, which is like the thing that creates art is impermanence. The impermanence of peace following suffering is kind of exactly what I was talking about, you know? But, oh, I die. That's tough. But, yeah, you know, I think that that's just something to think about. Is art inherently connected to life? Is the point of living to experience things that are considered art? Is the point of art to be experienced or witnessed? Is that what makes it art? I don't believe so. I believe what makes art is the way in which it's experienced. Does it connect to other beings? Does it connect to people? Does it connect to you, the creator? That's kind of what it's all about. And I think that's kind of beautiful. Impermanence is beautiful. Have you guys ever listened to the Tears and Rain speech from the end of what the fuck is the name of the movie? Why is my brain Blade Runner? There we go. It's like that. It's simple. It's a simple speech, but it's very powerful because art is simplistic. because it's impermanent. Beauty is impermanent. Beauty is subject to change. Beauty is subject to perspective. And that's just what it is, you know? Just what it is. But yeah. I'm gonna head on out for now. I left y'all with something to think about. Maybe I'll upload another video tonight. Maybe I won't. Who knows? There's no schedule for this channel. Who cares? Also, this guy's name that's number 5 on the leaderboard is Feet on My Face. And shout out to bro. Because you're real as fuck for that. I felt that. Hey, I wish. I'll see y'all later.